Welcome to Blitz Interviews. Like the game of chess, it's only lasts 10 minutes. I have a pleasure to talk to old friend Oded that we used to work together at Checkpoint. Actually, Oded still is Checkpoint. And the topic today is vulnerability research. Oded, what does it mean and what do you do day by day?
Hi, Evgeny. Nice to be on this talk. So basically, in my day-to-day work, I'm having teams that's actually looking for vulnerabilities, technologies that are having large impact on everyday activity or every user technologies that are around him. We are basically hunting hackers and trying to understand how they behave, how they act, what kind of methods they are using, and we are trying to take this intelligence and this information from our day-to-day operation and bring it into security solutions or security ideas to make protection or make the new products much more solid and secure. Of course, that's since we are in the age that there is a cyber warfare, and I am part of big research division that has more than 200 people that just focus on cyber warfare, from intelligence to attackers to data scientists. That's actually every day we're evaluating the entire malicious activity on the internet, and by that we are able to, first of all, create actionable security for solutions and for technologies, and second, take this intel and to start dig into what hackers are doing and start try to uncover their activities. So every day is a different day, every day is a new game.
So let's maybe separate. Vulnerability is one, what the bad guys doing is two. Sometimes they connect, of course, because they can use the vulnerabilities. So if you need to summarize in 2 words, what does that mean, vulnerability, for someone who doesn't know? What does it mean?
Vulnerability in our world is that we are living in an age that's everything around us is a digital asset that communicates to the internet. And the communication is basically sending and receiving data communication that perform actions both ways. A vulnerability is any case that a bad actor can manipulate this software bug and actually execute code in this context. For example, if there is a vulnerability on some kind of instance messaging application, and for example, the vulnerability is on sending images, on what we call controlling or sanitation of images. So basically, if there is a vulnerability on the image sanitation, so I can send you image with a malicious code. And once it will arrive to the destination, the malicious code will exploit the vulnerability to perform action on behalf of the user. So vulnerability is an open door that allows hackers to perform some kind of attack.
So let's go deeper here. You mentioned Messenger. I remember you found some vulnerabilities in several messengers. How did you guys decided to go and check a specific messenger? And what is the kind of your idea when you take a messenger and you start trying to find a vulnerability in the messenger?
Most of my researches that I perform, I'm driven by intel. As I told you, part of the operation, I have a lot of intelligence that's coming from hacking forums, underground, dark web, Telegram. And once we are like getting some kind of intelligence that there is like something happen in this specific technology, we are starting to dig in and try to understand if there is like implication that affects millions of users, and we need to go there and find it. So for example, with the instance messaging, so one of the cases is just we saw that in hacking forums, there are some kind of tokens available for sale. And the tokens were like authentication tokens of specific instance messaging application that has more than 2 billion users. And once we understood that there are tokens for sale, it means that we could understand that there is a vulnerability that allows to hijack these tokens. And then we are starting to go deeper and try to reverse engineer the software that we think that is the software with the vulnerability. And we try to find some ways that will allow the attacker to execute his attack. And by getting like more specific intel, we got additional information that this is done somehow by using the web format and by some way of the reconstruction of the image files, meaning that this gives us intel that we need to look on the parsers, on the engine that actually take the images, open it, and reconstruct them for the format of the application. Once we got this point, we are like, again, starting to reverse engineer this engine and try to create some kind of attack scenarios that try to reproduce it step by step.
This sounds very, very interesting. I have kind of two questions here. One, this is, in my mind, one of the top on the scale of knowledge that you need to know in cyber, in programming languages to actually be able to do it. So if a person is listening to this interview, watching this interview, and they say, oh my God, I want to do this. This is the work I would like to do. What kind of qualification, what kind of knowledge they need to have to be able to do such work?
For me, it's so simple because everything that you need is available today, meaning for information repository. So this is one. Second is that if you really love it and you believe that you can spend 3 hours every day just learning and hands-on, then there will not be a problem to overcome the challenges and to start to learn. What you need to learn, this is the question. So first of all, it's very important to really understand the concept of the protocol. Then I suggest that you now need to decide between two areas. There is low level, there is more applicative level. Low level, it's dealing with the machine language, with the binaries. This is something that if you really like to go in the level that you can debug bits and bytes, then this is something that you should continue after learning the protocols. And there is a lot of information about low level. It's like a system intern, understanding how the processor work and the memory, and it's very cool stuff. And there is another subject that it's also a world of opportunities is the applicative. It's like today everything is on the cloud and there are so many applicative moving components, understanding the software, understanding the APIs, understanding a cloud infrastructure, and try to understand better how protocols on layer 7 works with all the headers and encryption. And this is very interesting subject too. As I said, the core is the
networking
protocols, understanding the machine, and then you can find two paths that you want to focus on. As I said,
awesome.
The low level and applicative level, and then start with one of them. And of course you can switch, of course you can move, or of course you can complete it later. But once you start it, it's never ending story, meaning that I'm every day
always learning.
Every day in the world of cybersecurity, it's never stop situation. It's 24/7, and the technologies are always developed and everything is like moving to cutting edge. And if there is like new technology, for example, blockchain, so security and cyber, it's going there. Metaverse, it will be all around cybersecurity. So you learn a lot of things every day.
Thank you. Oded,
yeah,
we actually run out of time, so we may need to do another interview to talk more about other ideas. So thank you very much.
Yes, I was really enjoying. Thank you, Evgeny.